All right, welcome to TRB Conversations powered by XCO. I'm Brian Morrissey, joined by Paul Jelinek, Chief Business Officer at XCO.
Nice
Thank
to
you,
be
Paul.
with you. Thank you for having me.
So you, like up and down the Quaset, there's talk nonstop about agentic advertising, that the agentic future is here. As a trained journalist, I'm a trained skeptic. I am skeptical that it is actually here. I don't doubt that it is going to eventually be here, but is it here?
I would say that there are a few trends that I've seen at this event where agentic and AI play a role, but I don't think it's been the dominant theme, and I'll talk about AI in the context of that. I think the big categories that I've seen this year that are different than in previous events are things around content creator communities, sports as categories, and how those people, personalities, and sports franchises are using content to get awareness for their IP. And I think that where agentic and AI fit into that is more, right now it's more tactical about how to use AI tools to generate discovery and search and use it basically as a means to get visibility. And I think so that's one where I'm seeing it play a role is actually more as a pragmatic functional tool for some of the bigger kind of commercial opportunities around, again, the content creator community thing is it's here now. And you're not just seeing it as people having channels or small businesses, but people are actually building major IP and franchises, whether it's theatrical releases or books or podcasts. There is now businesses around specific personalities. And I think what I'm seeing is that AI is playing a role there to help it as a marketing and a promotional vehicle. Yeah. And I think that's happening. Is AI fundamentally transforming, advertising and as an industry? Not yet.
Okay.
I do think that you see companies in the last year that are using AI in a more interesting and productive way to make work more effective internally. So a good example of that is like Square, right? They announced a layoff, but if you talk to the people there, they actually are using AI as a means to develop sales and promotion strategy materials. Yeah. And so I think it's being used internally in different ways to be more productive with their business.
But not what the people are claiming that agents are buying advertising and are taking over the
I don't think it's happened yet. I mean, you have announcements by, agencies that they're doing stuff with agentic. I think eventually, if you look at like the video market where we play, there's a huge amount of inventory that is untapped by, I would say, mid-market and long-tail advertisers, or even just people that could use the video advertising to market and promote their products. I think eventually people will use agentic to streamline how you buy and execute media. And I think that'll open up the pool of who those advertisers could be, but it's not here yet. And in order for it to be here yet, you not only need to build these agents, but you need to figure out a go-to-market to get it into the hands of the people that matter. And so I do think it'll eventually help the business of media, but I'm not sure it's yet realized.
Yeah. So, I mean, XCO really started in the sort of publisher, the web publisher like world, and now you're on a journey into the TV world. Maybe some similarities and differences.
So I think the sort of little context. We started as a publishing platform actually for online publishers. Way back in the day, we were helping publishers build different types of interactive experiences, polls, games, video. Yeah. And then about 5 years ago, we doubled down on video and we built an online video platform.
It was Playbuzz. I know the whole history.
Yeah, it was Playbuzz. And then it became XCO. And XCO's I would say its superpower really is it's built a very sophisticated technology platform that does many different things for online publishers. It helps them personalize the content, manage it. It's a CMS, it's a video player, it's an ad server. The bread and butter, though, of the commercial value is it helps online publishers manage their programmatic and grow their programmatic video advertising. and develop an enormous amount of incremental revenue and growth from the technology platform. It's essentially a yield engine. And that yield engine, it's very powerful because it runs an auction that's side by side with your direct advertising. And so for the past 5 years, we've been signing up bigger and bigger enterprise publishers. When we looked at the market in the last about 2 years ago, programmatic, it's sort of interesting thing, which is the amount of revenue in video advertising online is much smaller than in CTV, or to some extent, digital out of home is still small, but in CTV it's proportionally very small comparatively. But programmatic is very sophisticated in online. Everything about programmatic grew up in the internet and the open web space. And so all of the auction dynamics. And so when we looked at what was happening in CTV, we thought, well, programmatic is growing. It's a big market. How do we tackle that sector? Because our yield engine really can be ported to any market in the media space. And so we started building out the platform, that yield engine for CTV and for digital out of home. And we took it to market about a year ago, and now we're partnering with companies. It's not the CMS, it's not the video player, because there's really no market for that for us in that space.
But is it apples to apples taking the yield engine?
I think parts of it are and parts of it aren't. I think the parts that are there are many elements of what we do around dynamic pricing and bid caching and demand selection that's very akin. It works for online, it works for CTV in very similar ways. The dynamics of CTV, though, there are different types of buyer and demand signals that we had to learn, and we're still learning. So, there are many things about the demand buying process on CTV, things in the bid stream that are different. And so there are idiosyncrasies in CTV that are different and that you could only learn by having beta partners and learning as you go. And so I think, and by the way, I should also add, the benefits to a CTV programming network versus an online, the growth that we're seeing is 30 to 50% potentially on their revenue in CTV. In online, it's much higher because you've got the video player and the ad server together. Yeah. And so you've got real-time data, historic data. You don't have as much of that in CTV, but you can still get very good growth.
Yeah. How about from the publisher side? What are the challenges you see that they face in these environments?
Online and CTV?
Yeah. And I'm interested in the compare and contrast kind of thing.
Sure. Well, I think there are a whole host of challenges in the online world. Diminished audience growth, for sure. Less a dependency, and maybe less of a dependency on a lot of the search players, and now you're seeing that with AI. I think that the online publisher world really needs to think about digital transformation from a product and editorial standpoint, probably in different ways than they have historically, right? And so they have fundamental challenges about audience engagement, growth, what they want to be in terms of a product for audiences. And from a commercial standpoint, clearly, they have to grow. There are only so many ways you can grow if you're not a subscription and an advertising business or a subscription business alone. So where can you get advertising growth? Well, you can hire more salespeople. That's one way. You can use tech like us to grow programmatic, but there's only so many tools. I think in the CTV space, the audience challenge, it's CTV is dominated by 20 to 30 companies from an audience standpoint, probably in the US today. And so I think that the audience is probably there for those brands in some form. What we're seeing, again, on the commercial side is they have challenges figuring out how to grow that advertising revenue. And I think the embryonic stage of programmatic in CTV is sort of where online was 8 years ago. And so I think they have to be smarter about how to manage that inventory more effectively. So it's not just about hiring salespeople, it's about, again, using tech properly to manage an auction more efficiently. I think that's one challenge. And of course, how do you find viewers and users, and how do you promote things? So that's one. I mean, I think in online, again, there's different things that are happening on social media platforms around like TikTok with vertical video and the way that content creators create video content and just editorial. I don't think that most of the online publishers have looked at that and said, we need to change the dynamics of how we even produce content to engage users. And so I think more of that, looking at comparables of success stories online, would serve them well in terms of their editorial vision.
So how many, the final thing is like, how many years behind, how many years until CTV is mature in a programmatic way? Like I feel like online is mature.
It is definitely mature. Yeah. I think in the next 2 years, you're going to see a major transformation in programmatic for these channels, because I think that they have to find avenues of growth, and hiring, simply hiring salespeople is not scalable.
Right. So final question, how many times have you been to Cannes?
I used to work at both traditional media companies like Nickelodeon and Discovery and A&E, and I worked at Taboola. I think I've been here 7 or 8 times.
Okay. Give me one quintessential Cannes memory or moment that sort of sums up like the Cannes experience for you.
A Cannes experience for me was probably sitting on the at a cafe on the beach many years ago with very wealthy media owners from the Middle East, negotiating a cable channel distribution agreement on a piece of paper on a napkin, basically, while the sun was coming down over Champagne.
That's the way to do a deal, Paul.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me.